Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be in the world, and welcome to today's conversation on Gift of Healing TV. For those of you that have joined us live, our apologies, we're a little bit late. Technical issues, but we're all here. So thank you for your patience, which is why the message is at the side if you're looking, if you're with us live. So I'm joined today by my co-hosts, Patricia.
Hello there. Lovely to be here, to be with you all.
Thank you. And David.
Hi there and welcome everybody.
And to our guest, Scott Holmes. Scott, thank you so much for joining us. I say this evening because it is here.
It is here, yes. Afternoon here.
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us. Now, this particular topic is I am. And I think they are two so powerful words. But share just a little about yourself and why the I am you felt was so important to be a topic of conversation.
Well, thank you, Sarah. I'm a intuitive quantum healer, whatever you choose that to mean. Most of my clients tell me it's just Reiki, and so we go from there. The reason for I am because in dealing with a lot of clients lately, they define themselves in their world in a very particular way, with titles, with descriptors that don't really say who they are. So when I probe deeper and I ask who they are without defining themselves by a title or putting themselves in a box, they find it very, very difficult to do that. So I did this whole project myself, and it's amazing what you come up with. So if you just have a minute, the things that I came up with initially in the beginning of my life, this is how I defined myself. As a son, the oldest child, a brother, cousin, nephew, student. I was a friend. I was a Boy Scout, a first baseman, a quarterback, a goalie, a defensive back, a paper boy. I was a best friend, a boyfriend, an uncle, a high school graduate, a dishwasher, a cook, a salesman, a manager, a coach, a sales manager, a husband, a father, a caregiver, a committee chairman, a board member, a district manager, a trainer, Northeast U.S. sales director, there's a big one, custodian, IT technician, a partner, a teacher, and a widower. And that's how I defined myself for years. So when I ask the question out there to everyone, including yourselves, how do you define or how do you say who I am? And I'm going to leave that, and I would like to hear the responses.
I'm going to start here because I absolutely get exactly what you're saying. Because so many people, I think about mothers, and they introduce themselves as, I am so-and-so's mother, and they then may give their name. Or I'm so-and-so's wife, or I'm so-and-so's husband. They give themselves that title. They don't start by saying, so, and I would have said, oh, I'm Kevin's wife, or I'm Dennis's wife, because I've got two ex-husbands. Sort of, or this is my mum and dad, sort of, so I'd always attach myself to somebody else. But now it's very much I am Sarah, or I am Sarah Jane. I am the whole of who I am. Every little aspect of me. I wouldn't necessarily put that in there, but that's what that Sarah or that Sarah Jane means to me. It's about the whole of me, every little aspect of me. And I suppose that's the energy I hold within my name because of understanding that of things that have happened to me in my life. So, but at the end of the day, I am. Me, whatever. But yes, I sort of, it's very much the name for me. So David, Patricia, who'd like to come in next?
Patricia,
Right.
thank you.
First of all, hello, and it's lovely to meet you, Scott. Well, I just realised as you were all speaking, I don't think like that anymore. And I used to be well up to here and all of that. And now I really do think on it all as being I am that I am. And for me, it's the power of the two words, I am. And whatever follows it is the definitive aspect of self. So I guess where I'm coming from on all of that is I am spirit, I am soul, I am one with the God force which is flowing through me, because that's what I am is to me, is the presence of God within me. And that is what's experiencing itself through me and what I bring forward. So it's like in the last few years, there's been huge shifts there, possibly going along with dumping a lot of ego, I hope and pray, and titles and qualifications, all that stuff. It just seemed to get heavier and heavier to carry, and now I've just laid it all down. And so there's a simplification, I think, and just to be able to say I am, and I am in, but not of this world, really.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was really interesting because what came up for me was as you was listing all your who you are, we so often forget about who we are. But someone say, "Oh, what do you do?" And you always reflect to this just one moment in time. This is me in this moment of time. But you are so much more, and we are multifaceted in so many different ways. And if someone says, "Oh, who are you?" and you're going to be there with a book like this when you think about it. But when you say, "Oh, I'm such and such, and this is what I do," you kind of knock out everything else that you are, if that makes sense. And you're denying, in a way, all of who, like you say, all of who you are. So I was got inspiration for a mantra, just a daily mantra. And at the end of it, the words came through, I give thanks, I give gratitude to all that I am. And that way, you're not missing out on anything that you are. But it really is. You just say, oh, I'm this, and everything else doesn't get included. So it's really interesting.
So Scott, what's your answer to the question?
Well, it becomes in my life. I've lost my a daughter. I've lost my wife. That's when I found myself at that point where everything is stripped away. Everything is everything I knew, everything I was, everything and how I defined myself really was gone, and I was left here to my own self. For years when I was married, I always said it would scare me to death to be single. So here I was single. It was me and the cat. The cat didn't like long conversations, so that was very tough. So I went on this journey, and the journey was I did 5 years of very intense every week with a psychiatrist, and we kind of plumbed all of those deep reaches. She was very good. She didn't let me off easily. Anytime I really didn't want to go is when I knew that I should, and we did absolutely marvelous work. But it allowed me to go through and I'm sure anyone who does any modalities finds that, it's never just one. You always want to learn more. You always want to see more. You're curious about it. Um, and in finding myself with 5, 6 different modalities, when you're working with clients, if one thing doesn't work, you find another way, another perspective, another avenue to be able to reach them in that respect. So the answer to that is, I am is a complete sentence. I went to India in April, and we're high up in the Himalayas, although they only call it the mid-level Himalayas, right? It was pretty darn high. And they are all about I am and the collective, and very, very it's just, it makes you feel immense and minuscule at the same time. So what I am now, and this is what I went through. I'm an active listener, a dragon rider, a unicorn whisperer, a RYSE, RYSE teacher, a Reiki master, an energy summoner, a spirit guardian, a non-resident gardener. I am a defender, a shepherd of chaotic energy, a light body seer, a meditation leader, energetic masseuse, a light supplier, a galactic guide, foundation builder, energy restorer. I'm a polarity therapist, a stagehand, a multi-dimensional musician, a chakra doorman, an elevator operator, a trail guide, an emotion alchemist, a muse, a past life untangler, a rainmaker, a pain detective, a mirror holder, a seed planter, a gatekeeper. I am whatever is needed at that moment. I am everything and nothing. When I put it in those terms, people really kind of blows them away, because I see myself as whatever is needed at the moment when I'm dealing with clients and healing and the work that we do. And I've engendered all of those aspects of myself at one time or another through the course of working with clients.
And it's within everyday life, isn't it? It's not just about clients. It's with sort of the people that you meet. Sort of when I take my niece's dog out for a walk, and you meet strangers, and dog walking is a brilliant way to meet new people. And you just get talking to people, and they get talking to you. There's something about dogs. They've got their definite own I am. They really have.
And why do I think that anyone in your presence would be hard pressed not to engage with you? You are just such a light. You are so bright. You are so welcoming. You have such incredible energy that I have walking to the mailbox probably is in a half-hour journey for you, because of the people you meet, and they just start talking.
Bless you, sweet soul. No, there are times when they obviously have a cloak of invisibility. Great. Otherwise, if I went out, I'd never get home again. Yesterday afternoon, Trevor said to me, he said, I nearly sent out a search party for you. but that's just it, isn't it? We can communicate with people. We can just be. It's just about being whatever that is at that moment in time. And I suppose when I said, if I say I'm Sarah or Sarah Jane, it's about honoring the whole of who I am. It's not one thing, it's not another. It's absolutely everything, every part of me, everything I've experienced and I've gone through. It's about the whole. And that's what you've said, but we just said it in a totally different way. So sort of, so yes, so no, I love that. It is, we are sort of, David, you can go first this time.
Yeah, thank you. It was just as the what was coming through me for then was when you say I am, you are fully acknowledging yourself for who you are, no matter what part of the day, what part of the night, or what part of the job I am. And doesn't that reinforce yourself to acknowledge, yes, I am this, and give you more power within yourself for whatever you're doing? Yes, I am a healer, or yes, I am a channel, whatever it is, you are then reinforcing, and then that what you are saying I am of is really raising and bringing the vibrations up, because you are acknowledging your full self from your feet to your crown and beyond. So it's really important, I think, as you were saying, to work with this magic I am, whatever you're doing, whatever part of the day, because it's evidently changed your life and put you in a very much stronger position, as you've come through everything that you kindly shared with us. But just that magic I am could change other people's lives as well, couldn't it?
It has.
Yeah.
We just have to get in that thought process and not put ourselves down. I am not.
Yeah.
But then I've heard so many people say that the universe doesn't recognize the negative. So when you say, I want or I don't want, it hears exactly the same thing.
That would be right. Yeah.
And leaves you with the wanting. If you say, I need or I don't need, it leaves you with the needing. And so it's thinking about our terminology when we speak and the words that we use, so that we bring about a much more powerful because we really do attract to ourselves, and we're very good at saying what we don't want and what we don't need. So sorry, Patricia.
No, if I may, that words are spells. The words that we use are the spells, and whenever you think about spells, it's very exacting on how whatever language you're using, that you have to be very particular about how you speak it. And so I use that same thing, as with Harry Potter or any other imagery you want to use, that the words that you speak to yourself are the spell that you cast in your life.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Scott, because I really love words, and I find them very important in my life, whether they're going out the way or whether they're informing me in some way. And what I'm finding truly fascinating, just this summer, I've just had more time and been out in the garden. And when I go out to the garden, I may well be saying something inside like, I am one with everything. And I'm one with you, beautiful trees. And as soon as I do that, even if there isn't a wind blowing, they'll start to rustle. And they really do. And my husband will bear this out. And it's almost as if we've got a horseshoe of them right around us. This is a new house to us, and I'm fascinated by the flora and the fauna, if you like. So I've been learning a lot about that. It's about I am that I am. And it's almost you can point at that and say, well, I am totally one with this beautiful being, because it's really resonating and responding to me. And it's hearing me. And then I heard from somebody recently, I can't think where, but they were saying the scientists had proven that the DNA in the sap in the trees was exactly the same root, the derivation, if you like, of the human DNA. So there was proof positive that we are one.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm just fascinated by all this stuff. And then a lady has expressed an interest to come and work with me for a couple of days, which is just wonderful because she's a flower, I don't know what you would call it, a flower talker or a flower speaker.
Mm-hmm.
And she's somebody who talks to flowers and they will answer her. And I mean, she's wanting to come and work with me, and I'm thinking, I can't wait for you to come and work. I'm just going to love this, you know. And it's just, it's wonderful. I feel I've really had my eyes opened to nature this last maybe 6 months or so. David and Sarah know I've had a big op in my hip, a replacement thing. So, I mean, I've just been really self-indulgent, not doing very much at all. And so I think maybe for the first time in my life, I've stopped long enough to be able to dwell in that, to live in that, to really feel close to Creator, to the God force flowing absolutely through everything and all of us. So it's really been eye-opening. And I so resonate with what you're saying about the words I am. Raises the vibration and the frequency. And of course, that's all about ascension and for us all just to rise above what is, which is beautiful, which is what we're all doing. So I get very excited about it all, because if you just sat and said nothing but tone I am and just keep saying that I am, you would actually end up as high as a kite if you did it. You don't need any of these things that all spending a fortune on, you know, believe me. Just say it is amazing. And you know, working with, well, I know, I think Sarah and David and I all talk to trees and all of that, which is lovely. But yes, so I'm just sharing that aspect of it, the wholeness. I think Sarah mentioned that at the beginning. It's the wholeness, the sacredness of everything, isn't it? Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You talk about talking to trees, and one of the exercises we did when I was learning a new modality was going in. Are you getting reverb on this? Because I am.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to turn. Well, actually, I'm going to turn my mic off just in case. But what I was saying, maybe if you turned your, I don't know whether you can, turned your speaker off while you're speaking, because you're not going to be listening to yourself because you're speaking.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Let me try that. Okay. So one of the things that I did with one of the modalities I learned was putting hands on the tree and just sitting, and just taking in the tree. And all of a sudden, I started getting images from the tree, and the tree is, you know, it just things that it had seen through the years, and that it liked being where it was, and it was being taken care of, and it was very grateful for, because it was on a grounds that was being, landscaped and the like. And I did this when I was in India this past April at this historic grounds, and so I put my hands on the tree, and the people I were with were just kind of looking at me and said, "Well, men don't usually do that, just women do that." I said, "Okay." So I saw these images of a battle, of just a huge battle going on, and all of this going on, and I had no idea what it meant. And then when we got back, we were talking to the guide for the park we were in, and oh Lord, sorry, and it went to, sorry, that was my phone, and we found out that a huge battle between British troops and Indian troops had taken place on those grounds, and I did not know that beforehand. So the tree shared its memory with me. It had been there for, they said, 200 plus years, and it had been there when that all happened. And it was just so interesting that how cogent, how we think of life as humans and interactions, but the vibrations of everything around us and how it gives us, if we are quiet enough, gives us feedback like that.
Absolutely. Well, it feeds us. I really feel that I know I'm regaining my strength pretty well and I've bounced back very quickly. So I feel that the nature around is just feeding my soul and nurturing my soul. And it makes me want to go out more and more, makes me want to go within more and more. Yeah, just bringing great peace. It's lovely.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I think. Sorry, Sarah. No. You brought up a couple of things there. You said about words of spelling and words of spells, and we've got to be so aware of how we use our language because it's become so I don't know, slanged in a way, if that's a word. It's been really quite corrupted. So we're getting very lazy and we're not thinking about the words we're using. And we really have to be aware. And I was only having this conversation, it must be in the air or something, with a friend last week. I was saying, we're really got to be aware. We don't realize and we slip up sometimes in what we're saying, even though we're aware. And we're trying to let other people know, please be careful what you say because you are making spells, because you're putting the intention behind it. So if you're putting that, whatever you're saying, you've got that intention behind it, and it may not mean anything, but may not be bringing the higher vibrations in that we all need at this moment in time. So that was really interesting. Then with yourself, Patricia, saying about we're all one. I was out for a walk and we'd done some earth healing, myself and a friend. We'd done some earth healing week past Sunday. And when we went out, we began to notice how nature is a reflection of us. Some of the colors of the flowers and the shrubs were the colors of the chakras. And we was just connecting in to all of this. And, there was the purple and we was almost walking through our chakra system, seeing, purple heather and down to the red berries on the trees. And it was just, we saw this in such a different way. And then, like you say, we became one. We really became one with everything around us. And like you say, I am all of this. And it was quite incredible. It really was, just to walk through our world with a different perspective. It raised the vibration so much. And then we would say, being aware of what we said when we come across like the purple for the crown chakra, we gave our crown chakra a blessing. And it was such a magical walk through a fields down to a river. And it was just those words that we used. It really made a change.
But isn't it also about so many people are talking about the world splitting, if you like, metaphysically into two dimensions. We've got the third and the fifth. I mean, I believe a lot of us are above the fifth, but that's another night. But we'll keep in the fifth. But it's if that's where you were at least, and that was you experiencing that world, and it's an entirely different world. I mean, really, I'm so aware of that just now. I feel as if I've fallen in love with everything, and it's a wonderful feeling. It's like seeing everything with new eyes with a totally fresh perspective.
Yeah.
Really lovely.
Yeah. Patricia, you talked about going within, and that's about what it should be for all of us, because the within is who we are. You know, all this stuff around us, the clothes we wear, the place we live, everything around us, it's just stuff. It's not real. The real is within. But I also wanted to go back to your sort of your words and spells. I'm a great one for asking the angels for support. And a few years ago, group of friends, we'd all agreed to meet at a sort of spot on the seafront, because we're right by the sea here at Poole and Bournemouth. And it ended up by being the most beautiful weather on the 2nd of October. It was a glorious day. And I didn't really think about that until I was trying to driving closer and closer to where we were going to meet, and realizing the world and his dog had gone out for the day, because it was such a beautiful day. And so I'm very good at saying to the angels, your support, please. And it was thinking about the wording. I didn't think about the order I did it in. And I said, please, may I meet my friends on time and find a parking space. I never remember the name of the road, but in the road we usually park in. I asked in that order. I ended up by driving to the end of Shore Road, where I managed to get the attention of my friends who were waiting for me, and sort of said, look, I'm here, but I'm not. I've got to go and find a parking space. And it was just like, I said, you carry on walking along the seafront. I'll find you. I drove back along, drove up into the road. A car was pulling out, and I pulled in. If that isn't about, think about what you are asking and put it in an order. Because if I'd asked for it in the right order, I probably would have got it in the right order.
That was a lesson.
Oh, absolutely. But isn't it just a sort of a friend of mine? Sort of, she was hoping to sort of find a new partner, whatever, and she'd asked the angels. She'd written this list, and said she was looking for her true love, and loads of other bits and pieces that she put in there. And then she met this guy, and his surname was True Love. He was not to be
Wow.
Oh, I love it.
And so she reframed it, got to say which country, so she ended up by falling for somebody who lives in France.
Oh.
So it is possible. You can create these things with the right intentions, but you have to be so careful.
Yeah.
And your intention has to be, and it is about the purest intention. It really is. So it's that connection within, and listening to your heart, and thinking very seriously, not just about the words that you're using, but the order you put them in as well. Because the universe has the most amazing sense of humor. Where do you think we get ours from? So,
do you think so sometimes?
all of it. And
Yeah.
you've got conversations with God. In there, it's, where do you think your sense of humor came from? Because we're meant to find fun and laughter and joy and happiness. They are our truest states. I am joy. I am happiness. Sort of, I am love. All of those things, they should be part of the I am.
Beautiful.
And laughter is a smile that burst. Sort of, laughter is laughter is the best medicine. Sort of, because it's all of those things. It's thinking about what raises our vibration. And we've been talking about the I am and it raising our vibration. but there's so much more energy. What energy are you putting behind that I am? Scott.
Wow. We talk about joy. Joy is extended happiness, and when we get into joy, then we get into a bliss state, right? So I always find that you can find that state, and I ask people to put a pin in it. In other words, feel this moment right now. Know that you can get here, no matter the situation, no matter what you're going through. Know that you can always come back to here because you have it within yourself. Because I know in my life, there are times when I've lost that sense of it. I've lost when so many things are going wrong or so many things are turned upside down. I've kind of lost that sense of it, but I come back to it. And we talk about tending the garden. I do that every day. I do the yoga every day. I do meditation every day. I do all of that before I even start my day. And I always find that if I don't do that, my day isn't ever quite as good. So I kind of stop and restart my day by doing the meditation and restarting my day to make it better. But it's that you're so right about that joy, finding joy. You laugh, Sara, because I've known you for probably 4 months now, 5 months, and you laugh and you you bring such a joy to life. I hope I hope in everything you do, you bring that because you have this sense of just wow, life is life is grand, and I am just enjoying every single moment of it. And I love that you bring that through, by the way, because when I think of Sara, I think of that. I think of your smile, your joy, your laugh, and that's how I define you, who you are, and in that way, because that's what you bring.
Thank you, sweet soul. I suppose because I had so many years of not having that, and the wake-up call that opened me to stop being the people pleaser, to actually to think about me, what I would like, what I was going to be saying no to from here on in. That's all part and parcel of our journey, isn't it? Of finding self. And the I am is the finding of self. And we are here. We have conversations that a lot of people think they should be serious conversations, but actually, don't we get so much more from them when we can find some lightness in them? It's not necessarily about finding humor. We were before you joined us. We were having a conversation. We thought we could get in serious trouble with, but there was the energy of that lightness was actually the energy of love, of caring. So it wasn't an energy that was a negative energy. It was a beautiful, loving, caring energy. It's just that the people that we were referring to, we could get in trouble at being about. That's all. And we have no disrespect for them whatsoever. But so yes, it's finding that within you, whatever that might be for you, that is you. So thank you, Scott.
My pleasure. I'd like to hear from the other two, and about what it is about that brings them joy. How do I define myself as someone said to me yesterday, in my Scott being his usual monk-like self, because I listen more than I talk now, and I find I find life is much easier now. Instead of me trying to push through it, I'm allowing it. I'm listening. I'm trying to be much more attentive, much see things through compassion, much more than I ever used to. I used to think you had to force life, and change and shape it in the way you liked it instead of allowing it. And now I sit back, I allow. There's so much talk about manifestation, but it's just knowing your path, and being able to take what comes next and allow it and enjoy it. But it brings me joy doing this work, talking to you, talking about these subjects. It's not like you can go to your neighbor and start talking about all of these things that we talk about. It would be hard. You'd be hard pressed to find anybody who could. So being able to do this work at this level just brings me so much joy, because I want to be able to bring that message out to so many people.
Sorry, I've
David.
gone blank. Can you still see me? I've got a black screen.
You're good. You're
Oh.
good. You're good.
Okay. It's really interesting you say, because you've gone through so much, Scott, as you've shared with us, and now you're realizing what's bringing you joy. So I think it's different things that do different chapters in your life will bring you joy. And like you say, the joy that I find myself in now is exactly the same. I love doing my work. I've passed official retirement age, but I cannot retire from this, because this brings me so much joy, whether it's listening, whether it's passing on knowledge and seeing other people gain from my experiences, good, bad, and ugly. If that is so good, that just really brings me joy to see people moving forward at the end of the day. And it's this work, it's this connection to this energy, it's the connection to, that sounded pious, the purity of that energy. And it brings in so much light. And you can walk down the street and you can just see the changes in people, just a smile, or as you said, just a contact to the eyes. That may be the only contact somebody's had all day, and it's made their day, holding the door open. But it's this work that really brings me joy. And when I'm not doing it, I think, oh my goodness. But the other joy is I love my garden. And Patricia and Sara know I just so have found my joy in having a greenhouse and having a small couple of vegetable plots. And I'm out there every day talking to my veg, and I'm just thinking, if anybody could hear me, but it makes me happy. And if I can confide in my tomatoes and they're not going to tell anybody. So, and I can give that energy out, but when I'm giving that energy out, it ripples out. So it's going to be like a ripple. You don't know where that enjoyment, not only for yourself, is going, but that enjoyment's going to spread out into your environment and reach the birds or reach your neighbor. And they may not even be aware of it, but it's spreading that joy. So I think it really is important, as you say, to really find things that bring you joy and do them, because you're not only helping yourself, you are helping others and your environment at the same time. So my enjoyment at the moment is my greenhouse, a little greenhouse on the prairie, and and my 2 little raised veg plots, and I'm in my glory out there. The day just goes.
I love it. And you work in your garden every day, right?
I am out in my garden every day, and if it's raining, I'll still go out and pull a few weeds or walk around the veg plots and just check everything and pop my head in the greenhouse. I'll still go and do it.
And I bet your garden looks better than all of your neighbors who've planted gardens, because you give so much time to it.
Yeah, I would say Although we've got a neighbor next door who grows a lot of his own veg, 3-4 times as much as me, and he spends a lot of time out there, and you can see the rewards. You really
Absolutely.
can.
Yeah.
You know, it just needs that little bit of time and a little bit of love into anything, and it really does bring back rewards for you in abundance. It
So that's
really
where
does.
it's living with intention, right? The
Yeah.
intention is to give to that and to be able to see it go. By the way, as far as retirement goes, 18 months I retire from real work until I can do the work that I love to do. And I figure it this way. I've got till 100. I'm only working till I'm 100 doing energy work. And then after that I figure it's all a plus.
Yeah.
So I've still got 35 years left to go in this doing the energy work.
Excellent. You can't give it up, can you?
No.
It's one of those things you can't retire from, and it will just go with you for as long
But it
as
also,
you're here.
don't you find it gives, don't you find that it keeps you younger? Don't you find that it keeps you livelier? Don't you find that that doing the energy work and processing the energy and feeling it and going to higher realms, that it allows you to feel so much better. We can still see you, David.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
just know you're fine. Um, but it's but being there and being in that energy. Um, my girlfriend said to me, you look younger now than I when I met you 10 years ago." And it's just, the yoga, the meditation with all the energy work, and I feel better than I ever have. And it's tending my garden, which is me, um, every day, and being able to do that every day just brings that energy. I have more energy than the 30-year-olds I work with, and they just kind of look at me strangely, and they don't understand how I have all this energy. But it's just maintaining my garden and doing it, making sure that I keep that energy flowing each and every day.
Yeah, I think
Patricia.
it's amazing.
Mm.
Miss Patricia.
Yeah, well, we've got the fattest caterpillars. They really love our Brussels sprouts. And I was chatting, David and I swapped notes about this kind of thing. And we've got big fat slugs that we're trying, we don't know, we're open to receiving any suggestions as to how to deal with them. But you know what, you're talking about how do you maintain lightness. Well, I'm married to a Dubliner. And
Does that mean there's a lot of Guinness in the house? I'm not sure.
well, interestingly enough, we don't really drink at all, but if we were having one, that's what he would have. When he was younger, he did. But the day starts with a laugh. There's no two ways about it. Something we always put the local radio on and listen to various bits and pieces, and they play older music, which suits us. So the day starts with music, and that always triggers memories from Bill. So we go way down memory lane and just lovely time together because we're not under any pressure. Both of us having worked a lot during our working lives, we've worked hard. So it's lovely having time now just to really appreciate and value each other. And I have this relationship with the radio DJ, and I phoned him in when he was playing one of these big singers, I'll Always Love You or something. So of course Bill was actually washing the dishes at this point in the kitchen, and we started dancing. And I thought, well, okay, I'll message our DJ and tell him about this. So of course out it goes over the radio that Patricia and Bill in Wellington Bridge are dancing a romantic dance and blah blah blah. There's a big joke of it. But that's kind of who we are. There's a lot of lightness here. There's a lot of laughter, and
Congratulations, by the way. Congratulations on finding a partner who is in the same place, in the same vibration that you are, and you have that kind of joy in your life. That's wonderful.
Well, it is wonderful, Scott. It took us a long time. Don't think that was an overnight job. This is my third marriage, but we've been together 23 years. So very consciously, I left the second one, which had lasted about 18 years, but I knew I had to move on. And, it was very upsetting, but then almost immediately Bill came in. And, Sarah, you're talking about manifesting. I had a list and knew exactly what I wanted, and didn't have it in an order or anything, but I had, and then he came, and we've just had fun. We've laughed, and I think that's most of it, because at the end of the day, if you're on that wavelength together, then, and I mean, he's a hypnotherapist. He's been energy working for. I attuned him to Reiki not long after we met, so. He really is into this work, although he's not doing much of it because he's an earth man. A Taurian works with wood, and so you'll get him outside. He'll be in amongst the trees as well. But, I was interested in you saying that you listen more, says she, having been talking her head off kind of thing. But I guess I've always been a listener. But when you're married to an Irishman, you don't have a lot of choice in that.
I was at a baseball game, and there was this very young couple, and they had said, "Oh, we're thinking of getting engaged," and I said, "Oh, that's wonderful," and I said, "Well, I had been married for 39 years before my wife passed," and they said, "Well, you've been around for a while. What do you think is the most important thing in life?" And I looked at them and I said, "A shared sense of humor."
Yes.
I said, if he takes a whipped cream pie and smushes it in your face and you're not laughing, you're really in a lot of trouble. So if you have that shared sense of joy of life, of shared sense of humor, my wife and I went through amazingly scary things with our daughter before she passed, and it was that shared sense of humor, dark humor, if you will. You're in the ER and you're in a life and death situation, and she would say something, and we'd start laughing, and it wasn't because it was necessarily funny. It was just ironic, and we just like, yeah, and that's what gets you through in those darkest of times, is that shared sense of life, of love, of laughter. It really, really is, and it brings so much more into the ability for us to get through the toughest of times.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're not far off of going for an hour, folks. And I'm sure there's so much more, and because the conversation, as they always do, they move, and they become what they're very organic, and which is, I love that. But for each and every one, is there anything that you'd like to share? As we'll start with you, Scott, because obviously the topic of I am and everything we've talked about actually is all part and parcel of the I am. So there's nothing here that hasn't hit that topic. It might not sound like it at times, but but anything else each and every one of you would like to share before we close?
The I am. Sarah, you've often talked about a name and sound, and doing that kind of work, and I think everyone needs to find that sound in their life, and that is part of who they am. And when they hear it, when they feel it, they know it. And when you find it, that's when you're striking the chord within yourself that rings true, and where everything starts to line up. And so I would say to everybody out there who listens to this, that finding out who you are and answering the question of I am, and then finishing that, will reveal an awful lot about where you are, how you relate to other people, and how you define yourself. And I thank you very, very much for that.
Thank you, Scott. Patricia.
Well, I would like to say how much I've enjoyed this evening. When I read this subject, I just thought, I'm going to love this. This is just up my street, and I don't always react like that. So I thought that's good. But it really has been delightful. I don't feel I've got anything else to add, other than just lovely to have met you and to explore the topic with you. It's just been lovely. So thank you. Thank you, Sarah, as ever. David, thank you.
My pleasure, and thanks to everybody. I just want to, what's brought up to me tonight from your conversation is that although you've gone through many experiences, like so many people have, to find your I am, I think everybody, from what we can say tonight, everybody can start with I am, because it's helping them recognize who they are and maybe jump, to the next step in helping them understand who they are. So there's no harm in starting with I am and making you think who you are. And that really reinforces you starting thinking who you really are. And that can bring you to the surface, I think.
Beautiful.
The I am is not about what you're doing, what you're being. It's just about who you are. Maybe it is about aspects of feeling, of knowing, of trusting, of believing, the sense that you get of yourself. I know personally for me, when I discovered that I was channeling messages from mythical beings, it was just like, yeah, right. And that so many times I go into the, what, me? Really? It's just like, yes, why not me? Why shouldn't it be me? Why shouldn't it be each and every one of us? We have an ability, and we have so much more of an ability when we believe in ourselves. Trust in who the I am is. Don't try and be anything. You're definitely not a doing. Just trust the sense you get of yourself. And yeah, listening. But listen to yourself. Not to this, but to the heart. Just listen. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. I always love these conversations because we all come from different perspectives. We've had different experiences, but there are similarities in other ways. So thank you so very much. And thank you to those of you who've been listening. I know we had some issues at the start, and I hope that you have been able to sort of watch us without any problems. And you've kept very quiet since. So thank you, but not thank you for keeping quiet, but thank you for being there. I have put Scott's website address up.
Thank you.
scottholmes.com. I will put that under the video on YouTube. So if that's where you're watching, you'll find the email, the website address for Scott, for Patricia, David, and for myself, and for the link to more of these conversations. We have them a couple of times a month. But actually next week, Patricia and David join me again with Joanne Bracken, and we're going to be doing a sound experience. So I hope that you will come and join us for that, because we all love working with sound. And sound can be so empowering. So I hope you'll join us for that. In the meantime, thank you to all of you. Love, peace, and light. Take care. Be safe. Stay well. Namaste, sweet souls.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye.